Just be quiet. You might scare them off.
Who are them? It's midnight and we're in the middle of an old railroad. There aren't any souls.
Wow. Is that real? You see that? Blue and green flying lights. Yeah, it's creepy, dude.
Locals say those are women wandering around this place searching for their husbands who once got in a train accident, and these are their lanterns.
A train accident? When did this happen?
I don't know. More than 100 years ago, maybe.
You mean these lights are… Dude, let's get out of here. They're getting closer. Two guys run away in horror from a sinister railroad where people have been seeing strange, mysterious lights for years. And could you tell? I did both voices. Anyway. But it's not only about the railroad. In the nearby houses, doors slam on their own. People hear footsteps. Some objects move out of the blue. Silence becomes ominous. Birds behave strangely. Animals get worried. People hear creepy whispers. Cars shake slightly. Some people experience scary visions. In short, welcome to Summerville, a small town located in South Carolina. If you don't believe in all these stranger things, then you can check it out for yourself. Talk to people who live there and they'll share bizarre stories with you. Yeah, maybe you won't hear whispers or see a shaking car, but if you're really interested, go to the old railroad and wait for a phenomenon called Summerville lantern. You're unlikely to solve the mystery of the Summerville lanterns by yourself, but if you still want to play the role of a detective for a while, here are some clues for you. No one knows exactly how people spotted the lights there, but the first mentions date back to the middle of the 20th century. People wrote about glowing spheres. Most often, these were green and blue. They were hovering over a narrow section of the Sheep Island Road. Now, keep in mind that in the past, builders made some road repairs in that area, and they didn't remove some parts of the old rails before installing new ones directly above them. In short, there's a huge pile of metal hiding here. Okay, let's move on. The next detail concerns not only Summerville, but also the nearest cities, and this is some serious seismic activity. In 1886, the small town of Charleston faced the most devastating earthquake in the southeastern United States. It became one of the most tragic events in eastern North America. On August 31st at 9:51 p.m., strong tremors destroyed many houses. Absolutely all the buildings in this small town were damaged. Loads of people were hurt. The damage from the disaster amounted to about $5 to $6 million. In the 19th century, this was a huge sum, equivalent to about $170 to $204 million today. Seismic activity damaged the railroad along a 50-mile stretch. The steel rails got S-shaped curves, the tracks were displaced, and traffic stopped completely. Sand craters formed on the ground, and fountains of water poured from them. Cracks formed along the banks of canals and streams, and trees were uprooted. Yeah, it all sounds terrible, but what does it have to do with our town? Summerville is located 15 miles northwest of Charleston, and of course, the disaster affected it too. Now, you probably understand why builders had to repair the railroad, and I hope you remember that they simply buried some old metal parts underground. Okay, now we know about the seismic activity in that region. This might explain why some cars shake, why objects move, and why doors close all on their own. But what about the lights? Do you think they might also be caused by an earthquake? Well, you're absolutely right. There's such a phenomenon as earthquake lights. The U.S. Geological Survey describes them as glowing spheres, discharges, or sparks that appear in some places before, during, and after earthquakes. But unfortunately, scientists know too little about all this. The thing is, earthquake lights are a rare phenomenon. There's no systematic and clear scenario according to which they can appear. There's a powerful earthquake in one place, and these lights don't appear. There's a slight tremor in another place, and the lights are hovering over the ground. We know too little about them, but it seems to be enough to solve the mystery of Summerville. When an earthquake occurs, the tectonic plates of Earth's crust shift. Various gases are released from the deep bowels of our planet. I can relate. Then some chemical reactions occur, and they start to glow and turn blue and green. But what gases have such properties? Call any chemist to help you with the investigation, and you will get the answer. Methane and radon, for example, are ideal for creating eerie lights. Now, by the way, there's another version. It's possible that seismic activity deforms minerals inside the Earth's crust and thus creates an electric charge that makes air molecules glow. But let's focus on the gas theory. So underground gases leak out during earthquakes. Then they ignite, and voila! We have the legend about a woman looking for her husband on the railroad tracks. But wait a minute, there are a couple more questions. What ignites these gases? The area where people observe this phenomenon is surrounded by nature. There are no houses, farms, or gas stations there. Only metal tracks. And radon and methane need a spark to ignite. Okay, try to guess. How can railroad tracks produce a spark? Do you remember what happened to the old railroad when constructors built a new one? They left it in the ground. That is, piles of scrap metal lie under the new railroad. Let's say, at one point, another earthquake occurs. Those underground metal parts rub into each other and create a spark. At the same moment, radon or methane leaks out, and we see those colorful lights. Congratulations, the investigation is over. But don't rush, this is just a guess. Scientists who are trying to solve this mystery have not proven the exact cause yet. But facts point to this theory. For example, in August 1959, a small earthquake occurred. And do you know where it was? Just 2.5 miles from the road where people most often notice the Summerville lights. At the end of 1960, a couple more weak earthquakes were recorded in the area. On the other hand, there were a few earthquakes, but people saw the lights much more often. So, what's the explanation? Seismic activity can be unnoticeable there and take place every day. Such earthquakes are so weak that people don't notice them, but strong enough for methane and radon to come out. When did all this seismic activity start? It seems it began at the end of the 19th century, when the worst earthquake occurred in Charleston. The big earthquake triggered many small ones that are still shaking the ground. Earthquakes can also explain the strange behavior of animals and birds. Animals are more sensitive to seismic activity, and every tremor scares them. Okay, but what about those whispers and the sounds of footsteps that people hear? What about creepy visions? Well, most likely, it's just human imagination. Where strange things happen, people tell hundreds and thousands of stories to each other. Someone exaggerates and someone hears something differently. That's how scary stories that have nothing to do with real life appear. Like social media. What will happen next? Scientists will probably adjust their theory. To do this, they need to check the presence of radon and methane in the fault sites and conduct a couple of experiments. For example, artificially ignite these gases and see what happens. It's also necessary to track the time when the lights appear and compare it with the time of seismic activity. If these two factors coincide, the case will finally be solved. This information will help seismologists around the world learn more about the geological features of Earth's crust. Moreover, research in this area will help predict earthquakes in advance, which could save many lives in the future. Okay, the Summerville lantern case is solved. How about investigating other cases with strange lights? Yes, people have observed similar phenomena all over the world. For example, mysterious lights in the swamps, Marfa lights in Texas. In 1997, people saw 3 flying lights in the night sky in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, get some rest and proceed to the next investigation. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.